Hey moms, Katie here with another episode of Live and Learn, and we have one of our awesome ladies here with us. Her name is Jessa Kimball with Sunflower Postpartum Care for Baby and Moms, and I'm going to let her fill you in on her story a little bit first because it's pretty neat, pretty unique, and what she does is pretty cool. So take it away, my friend.
Hi, thank you for having me. So, I am a birth and postpartum doula. I specialize in postpartum care. One of the big things I do for moms is I do overnight newborn care. So, when you first get home from the hospital, I'm there to help out throughout the night so that you can get as much rest as possible. I do light laundry and bottle cleaning and things like that, and mainly focus on baby, but also just help get mom ready that way. When she starts the day, she is good to go and doesn't have to worry about anything and feels well rested. I do travel services and go with families on vacations or travel to families in other states to support them during that postpartum period.
That is amazing. And having had my child now almost 5 years ago, I still remember those first couple of weeks. And I still, almost like it was yesterday, believe it or not. Mom brain hasn't gotten rid of that yet. But I still remember what that was like. And lucky for me, I had my mom come and stay with me for a couple of weeks. She's actually in New Hampshire, where you're at. And she came out to Arizona. She stayed with me for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if I would have survived without that help. So it's probably similar to what you offer, is what she did for me.
Yeah, well, growing up, I moved to South Carolina when I was younger, and I'm one of seven kids, and watching my mom raise these seven babies with the support of my dad, but being a transplant in a new state with no family and having that many kids, it's tough. Even just with one, it's a huge transition, and I think um, a lot of people either are transplants or their family can only help out for a limited amount of time, and a lot of times grandparents don't really want to do the nights, and the nights I feel like are kind of the hardest part. If you're not getting enough sleep, you can't really function the next day to take care of yourself and another human being.
So let's talk about why that's important. I mean, the baby comes out and it's on the opposite schedule of the mom. Am I right? Because if I remember correctly from my pregnancy, I'm up moving around all day. That's kind of cradling him and he's like sleeping all day, right? And then I swear it was dance party every single night. And he's
Yeah.
just up and, doing his workout or whatever it is that was going on in there. So that doesn't change once he's outside of the womb, he or she.
No, and even if you do get lucky and your baby gets right on a normal daytime, nighttime schedule, you're still waking your baby every 2 hours to eat in the beginning.
Right.
So, you look at how long it takes to do a feeding, depending on how efficient your baby is, it can be a long feeding. Then you have to burp the baby, change the baby, soothe baby back to sleep. By then, you get 30 minutes of sleep, maybe an hour, and you're up again, ready to feed. And I think a lot of times it takes so long because of that process after the feeding of trying to get baby back to sleep. So even I've worked with plenty of moms who exclusively breastfeed, and even then you're able to just kind of roll over, feed your baby and go right back to sleep. And even like just a good 4 hour stretch makes such a difference when you're starting the day versus just getting 30-minute chunks here and there.
Totally. I mean, just think about it. So your body just went through this big, huge ordeal. So whether we had it naturally, had complications, whether we had a C-section, whatever the case may be. So mom has her own repairing to do, right? And now
Mhm.
we have this human, this new human. If you're a new mom, it's really new. And you kind of have no idea what to do there, but you still have all the household stuff. You still have all the stuff you're dealing with in, real life. And it's important. I totally agree with you. Sleep, you need it. Otherwise you're leaving, the baby monitor in the fridge and all of that crazy, funny new mom stories that you hear.
You think about not just the sleep, but who's going to hold your baby if they're awake and you just shower or
Mm.
do the dishes or make breakfast. And I feel like kind of one of the ways to describe what I do is kind of being a mom to the mom. I'm there not just to take care of the baby, but also to take care of the mom and make sure that she's eating and she's taking care of herself. Because I think a lot of times when you have a baby, that postpartum period, it's hard to feel like a human again and just get back into your routine. And you realize how much you value those little things like taking a nice long shower. So I'm there to kind of help these families get back into the groove of things and back to their normal.
Let's talk, and I'm coming out of left field with this one, Anya, but I know you got it. Let's talk a little bit about postpartum depression. Are you able to help with that? What are the signs? Like, can you just kind of verbally dump on me about that? Because I know a lot of moms struggle with it.
Well, and I think now more than ever, it's coming into light more, so we're hearing more about it. But also, I think that there are more moms with postpartum depression now. And I think a huge part of it is we have social media, which is amazing because we have these groups where we can kind of find our village and get that support. But a lot of times you post a question, and let's face it, you get 200 comments of everyone's opinion, and then you're like, okay, no, I really
Even
don't
more
know what to
overwhelmed.
do. Yeah, so I think a lot of it is making sure you have support and planning for that support. I think a lot of people plan, they create a birth plan, but they don't create a postpartum plan. So I really recommend doing that. And then blocking out the noise and just trusting your gut, because deep down you know what's right and you know what's going to work for you.
That's right.
But I can't diagnose someone with postpartum depression, but I do look out for the signs and am able to refer them out to someone and connect them with local support groups. Back home in South Carolina, I was running a support group, and I'm getting ready to start one in New Hampshire.
Awesome.
Moms I feel like the isolation is a huge part of it. You're just stuck at home with this new human being, and you're becoming this new person. You're in a new chapter of your life, and you just want to have conversation with an adult, because talking to a baby all day can get
Been there.
after a while, you want someone who's gonna talk back to you and not just stare at you
or need something.
Yeah. So I think creating these communities where moms are able to get out and talk about what they're going through, because sometimes it's not even that they need advice from anyone. They just need to say, like, okay, here's what's going on, and then have someone go, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. I think being stuck at home with a new baby and not having support makes all of that anxiety and the depression get a lot worse for moms.
Totally agree. And this could probably be a whole different show, but I've also seen that what you just said kind of snowballs. And so maybe kid is 3, 4, 5, 6, but now mom has all this major social anxiety. And we're dealing with a lot of moms. It's not a bad thing. It's a normal thing. I feel like it's kind of a natural thing because of the isolation, but we're finding that there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, well, the studies have shown that postpartum depression can be like, you could be completely fine for the first year, but up to 2.5 years old, when your child's 2.5, you could just get postpartum depression then, or
Wow.
just start showing the signs. So I think we look at postpartum depression in the first few weeks, but really we need to be paying attention to moms even longer than that.
I didn't know that. Something I learned today. Thank you for sharing that with me. It makes a lot of sense with some of the other conversations that I've been having with some new moms. So thank you for sharing that. What are your most popular postpartum tips?
I think number one, block out the noise. I think there's just so much. You type anything into Google and you're gonna find horror stories about a product that you might want to use, or if you type in just any question, you'll find information that's going to scare you. So I think if you're very concerned, reach out to a professional. I think one of the benefits of a postpartum doula is sometimes you have a question that isn't necessarily like, you don't need to contact your pediatrician, but you don't want to look on Google. So I'm kind of there to offer that educational support as well. And then if something is concerning to me, say, okay, yeah, you do need to contact the pediatrician. But I think a lot of it just comes down to trusting your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of controversial parenting topics, and you can post a question saying, like, what do you think of this parenting style? And you'll get both sides, people who it worked great for them and people who are completely against it. And it just depends on your kid and you. We're all different. All our kids are going to be different. And what works for one baby might not work for another. It can differ from your first to your second to your third child. So I think just really trusting your gut.
That's huge. I actually had this conversation with another mama that works with pregnant women only. She's the pre-postpartum. Prepartum, is that what you call it?
Prenatal, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. And she shared that same advice, and she said, you know what? We have instincts. Why are we moving away from our instincts because of judgmental communities, basically. And instincts are there for a reason. And I experienced that as a new mom, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. What do you have coming up that you'd like to share with our audience?
So I also do photography, and I've relaunched a series called Day in the Life of a Mom. I think as we're starting to show the raw reality of motherhood and parenthood on social media, we still tend to do, like when we schedule our family photo shoots, it's always very post pictures, which I love, but the candid moments are so big and so important to remember because what do they say? The days are long, but the years are short.
Yep.
You don't remember all those little moments, those little giggles and just cuddles on the couch and those everyday moments that you're having with your child. So I come in and I kind of just am a fly on the wall capturing those moments, and they're
Cool.
some of my favorite sessions.
I bet that is tearjerker, like everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
that
look
is,
at it makes me emotional.
I bet. That is so cool. So if our audience would like to contact you to discuss your services, how would they go about doing that?
So I can be found on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook, it's facebook.com/sunflower postpartum. Instagram is sunflower postpartum care. I also have a website, theuppervalleynightnurse.weebly.com. And I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram. I post on there constantly, but all my services and information is also on my website.
Awesome. So they can contact you that way. And does that include the photo package, or how does that all wrap up into your services?
Yeah, that's all listed there. I have a variety of services. I do overnight newborn care, the photography services. I occasionally still do birth photography for my postpartum clients if they're interested in that. That's actually how I got into doula work, was started out in the birth part of it. Um, my travel services are all listed there, so everything they can find the packages, and then there's my all my pricing and everything that they need.
Awesome. Yeah, your story's real cute. And if I remember correctly, were you 15 when you photographed your first birth?
Yeah, so I actually got into newborn care when I was 10 years old. I think growing up in a big family, it just was natural. And I worked with a mom who had postpartum depression and cared for her 2-day-old and her 2-year-old when I was 10. And a lot of times I would just come over and hang out on the couch and we'd eat lunch together and I'd hold her baby and we'd talk because sometimes you just need someone there just to talk to and to hold your baby for a minute. And some days she would nap or go get run errands and get things like that done. But a lot of times a productive day for me is just chatting with mom and working through any of her concerns. And that kind of, I mean, being 10 years old and seeing postpartum depression and I didn't know what that was. I mean, I figured I'm 10 years old, you have a baby, you're so excited and everything's perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
then to kind of realize that we're not really set up in our country to support women postpartum, and we don't really talk about how important this support is. And I got to see that. So that kind of turned into me working more with newborns. And then at 15, did birth photography. The first birth I went to, there was a doula there. And she said, go get certified. This seems like what you're supposed to do. Just go do it. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it. So I graduated high school at 16, and I was a certified doula when I graduated.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Such a sweet story. I love it. And Jessa, you are changing lives all day long, I'm sure. So thank you for the service that you provide from one mom and from all the rest, I'm sure. We really appreciate it because I think, like you said in the beginning, that's kind of a time that is really, really important for mom and baby. And there's things that just have to happen. So thank you for your help with that.
Thank you.
It was awesome meeting you, Jessa.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
See you later.
Bye.